So good afternoon everyone. Myself Roshan and I am from Lovely Professional University. So in this video I am going to explain you Undo and Redo using the stack data structure. So basically what is Undo and Redo? Basically what is we have to know what is Undo and Redo. So the Undo and Redo is the functionality which is used in the software applications which was used to revert the actions and repeat the actions, and this functionality can be used to is used in the stack data structure, and it is very powerful tool in the computer science. So most of we use stack data structure. We have idea about stack data structure, and undo and redo operations are performed, and so many operations like last in first out, first in last out, these are also can be performed using the data structures. So understanding the undo and redo mechanism, so it can be used for action performance. And what is action performance? Like any typing a text or moving a file from one place to another, like removing the file or repeating the file. So these are the actions performed here. You can see that what will undo operation will do. Basically undo removes the most recent action from top of the stack. Like if we add for example, we take a bunch of books like 1 2 3 4 5. So what will it will do? It will remove the last what we kept the last book. It will remove the last book, and which is on the top of the stack, and effectively reversing the last change. It will reverse the last change. And what is redo operation will do? Like redo operation will retrieves the last undone action from the stack. Like we have performed the undo operation, then redo operation will automatically retrieves the last done action from the stack and reapplies it. It will automatically restore the state to the before, like undo operation. You got it? So coming to the pushing and popping operations, like pushing and popping operations can also be done in undo and redo. Like pushing, like you can see I give the examples of a book, like pushing, popping, and last in first out. The last item which we kept, which will be removed. And using what is pushing, when a new action is performed, it is pushed. Like I want to keep a books in the library, or I have to keep a books in the table. I can easily create use the space, and I will create, and I will keep the books one by one. Like it is pushed onto the top of the stack. It will be automatically, like we are keeping the in books, so it will automatically the last book which we kept, which will show the first. Okay, it's a most recent action. What popping? The undo operation involves popping. I said you that a undo operation will perform popping, and popping the top element of the stack, removing the most recent action and revealing the previous action. So if we remove the book, it is called undo. So what will last in first out? The stack also follows a last in first out principle, meaning the last element added, it is the first one removed. The last element which we add, we have to remove the first. We can't remove the bottom element now. So the last in first out principle also will be done, and pushing and popping also done. What the undo operation will do? Popping actually. So implementing undo and redo functionality. So actually, stack data structure, we use the how to implement the stack data structure. We use arrays or linked list, which will provide us effective efficient in storage for the action history. Basically, like we can perform on arrays and linked list, because it is very good for storing the values in it. And what the undo, coming to the undo operation, the undo function pops the top element from the stack and applies to the reverse of the action to the document. I already explained these topics. Oh, I already explained the operations. It's like the redo function retrieves the last popped element from a separated redo stack and reapplies the action to the document. I told you all these things which I explained you in the first two ppts. Okay. And coming to the implementing of this udo and redo, I will show you this algorithm, and I will explain you in the text editors. Like we can use VS Code and some like this text editors. And I can use imagine editing software also, like graphic designers can export while using these edits, because they because of the fear of permanent changes, allowing them to explore different things. We can use web browsers also, because users can navigate back and forth through their browser history, and using back and forward buttons, effectively leveraging the undo and redo mechanism. The thing is, we can use web browsers also, so it can easily for back and forward operations can also performed. Like in text editors, you can easily use the tools like undo and typos or incorrect edits, ensuring the clean accurate document. By this we can we I will show you the practical also. So just we have understood what is undo and redo using the stack data structure, and what are the actions will be performed in undo and redo. I gave you the example of the books, arranging the books in the table, and I will show how to implement right now. So 1 second. Okay. So guys, I will explain you the pseudocode of this stack. Sure. So okay, so I'm going to explain you now the pseudocode of the undo and redo using the stack. After explaining this pseudocode, we are going to jump towards the code, which is everyone needs to know na. Everyone needs to learn the code of this undo and redo. So basically, what we are doing, we are initializing the two stacks, one for undo and one for redo. So I'm going to write here the pseudocode like stack undo stack. Like we are considering it as a new stack, and again I'm using for redo. You can see I use the stack name called redo stack, and I write the code as new and space stack for these functions to perform an action. Like I'm taking the function which will perform an action called action. So what will it will do? It will clear the redo stack as a new action and validates the redo history like redo stack dot clear. It will clear the redo stack as new action invalidates the redo history. What will the push? It will push the current state to the undo stack before performing the action, and windows dot stack dot push will to the current state after applying the action and updating the current state. So I'm considering as current state equals to apply action. So I use this again function to perform the last action. So I'm considering you, I'm taking the if else statement and printing these things like no action to undo. Basically what does push to the what this push current state, it will redo the stack, and I will show you what will undo will do. When undo is called, the current state is pushed to the redo stack and the last state is popped from the undo stack to restore it. Basically this will comes under the redo stack and it will be popped from the undo stack to restore. And what will redo will do? When redo is called, the current state is pushed to the undo stack and the last undone stack is popped from the redo stack to restore it. It will restore it. Okay. So I consider as a function undo, and here I consider as a function redo. So if undo stack is not empty, it will push the current state to the redo state before uploading it, means before undoing any operation. So if we are pushing the current stack and popping the last stack from the window stack and set it as a current state, so the current state will become popping, else it will print like no actions to the window. Okay, so if we are taking another function like redo, if it is not empty, it will automatically push the current state to the to the redo operation, or else it will print no actions to redo. What will what will it will do? It will pop the last state from the redo stack and it is sets it as a current state, like current state equals to redo stack dot pop. Like we are using these functions like redo stack dot pop, it will pop the operations like I told you, this undo and redo will use this pop functionality in data structures. So these are these explanations. If you perform an action every time, when the action is performed, the current state is saved on the window stack and the redo stack is cleared, because I already told you that new actions will be invalidate the redo history, because new actions will be stored in the history, not like we are doing any something and not storing it and not showing in the screen. So this is the code pseudocode, and we will jump to the code and we will see how the code works. Basically the code is not that much complicated, so this is the pseudocode which you can easily refer it, and easily it's so easy to understand also. Like we have considered the redo, we have considered the two stacks like undo and redo. We use this function called perform action. I told you what this perform action will do. It will recall the it will take every time an action, this action is called, the current state is saved and it will apply on the undo stack and the redo stack and is cleared, because new action is validating the redo history. So that's it about this. And I consider here function redo and function undo, and I take the help of the if and else statements, because everything you can take as for loop also, for loop, and you can take for loop also, and you can take anything you want, you wish to take. So by this I will, by this we you can clearly see the pseudocode of this undo and redo stack using undo and redo using stack data structure. And I explain you this ppt, and I explain you the pseudocode. Now I will show you this how the code will perform. I will show from scratch. 1 second. So okay, now I will show you this code for this. 1 second. This one. Yes. So you can see that I mentioned the code for this undo and redo stack. So I will show you, I will give you demo first, what I have written, then I will explain everything based on this. I have written for the code for undo and redo stack, which will takes input from the user from 1 to 4, and it will perform undo, redo, and the perform operation. So if I run this code, so it will ask me to enter a number from 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to first perform an action. So if I enter 1, we have to perform an action, like I want to input here Roshan. I want to, it's my name, na? So again I will perform, I will click on 1, it will perform an action. I will take here Rahul and I press enter, and again I will perform an action, and I will write here Rishi. So now now I will perform undo operation here. I will choose here second. So now it undo, what it has been restored. So it is restored to the state of Rahul. Now I have to redo the last action. So I will click on 3. So it is restored the state from Rishi. So you can clearly see that undo operation and redo operations has been performed. You by this you can see that we can easily perform this undo and redo operations. So now I will explain the code which will from I written from scratch. So the thing is, I have considered one class like undo, redo, and stack. I'm initializing these values init dot self. I'm initializing the self, which is like a self undo stack, and this self redo stack, and I mentioned the current state as none, because we can take anything, but I have chosen none here. One second. Okay, now I will show you this. I just give you the demo of it. Now I will write the code from the scratch, like I just give you the demo how the stack actually works. I explained you this. Now I will creating the new file. So okay, so now I'm going to write this code for this undo and redo using the stack. So I'm considering class, and I'm writing here undo, and for redo also. One second. Yes. So I'm keeping here, and now I'm opening here Jupyter notebook. So I'm going to consider here redo stack. One second. Okay, i'm initializing I'm initializing the function here. I'm initializing the self here. Okay, self. I'm writing here self dot undo, because we are two performing the operations now. So I'm writing undo dot stack equals to bracket, and writing also self dot redo also here, redo stack equals to bracket. Then I'm writing here self dot current state, because we need to mention the current state, like new state, like current state equals to none. I'm taking here none, because anything you can take, none or 0, none. I'm writing here none. Okay, so per performing the action, like per performing the action, we have to take another thing, that is defining the defining performing na. So I'm writing here, one second, def. So I'm writing here def perform action, because we are performing the action using the self, and using the action, because we have to perform the action on and store the content. For this, I'm calling the function definition, and I'm to perform the action. So I'm here writing this semicolon, And for clearing the redo stack, we need to write another thing, that is action while self dot redo, self dot redo stack clear. Okay, so what it will do, it will say save the current stack into the stack. So I'm considering the if statements also, like if self dot if self dot current state is not none. I'm considering it is as not none, is not none. So I'm writing here self dot undo stack, self dot undo stack here. And sorry, here I missed this self. If self dot current state is not done, and self undo stack. Mm-mm. So I need to append here. The thing is, if we didn't append means like no use here, no use of doing undo perform current state. So this is the code. So applying the new action, like if we, sorry, dot append. Okay, if self I performed here if self dot current stack is not none, so I'm using self dot undo stack dot append and self comma current state, self dot current state. Okay, so after this, applying the new option here, self dot current state, current state equals to action, like we are performing the action and we are using the printf to print personal information, performed action. Like this, if I write the whole code means it will like it will take so much of time. I already write the code that I will show you, because it is so much of time consuming. So I'm pausing this and I will show you the code which I written in the Jupyter notebook. Okay, like I show you the code. So after writing this whole the things, like we write here class, and after initializing the self command, and we used undo stack and used the redo stack, and I selected the self dot current state is none, and I performed the action self comma action, and I used here which will redo stack clear. And if I used here current state is not none, and used we have implemented state is current state, and I used here undo for the self, and I used if else also to check the conditions, because here I used append function to initial to current state to check the current state. And here also I performed one action. If if action is performed, it will print me the performed action. And selecting here, and here select, it will select the current state. So after doing, I used a redo operation, and I performed here and I also taken here if and else statements to check whether the condition. And here for example of the user is given an input, for user I choose an here main command and main function. And here undo redo equals to undo redo stack, because we have taken here undo redo stack. So that's why we have what we have taken in class, we have to take in the function for the defining the main function. So while loop I have taken, if anything, why if you choose the user prints 1 2 3 4, and it will select the option perform an action, undo the last action, redo the last action. So this is the code. If I run this code here, I chooses if user chooses the one, it will show us the action what you want to perform. You want to perform undo, you want to perform redo, and you have to choose from the select. I will show you. If the user doesn't choose any of this, you can select 4 means it is like printing the existing what is there in the existing. So I will run the program now. 1 second, there is indentation error in it, something around. Now we'll try again. Yes, so now I showed you in demo that if I choose one and I write a performing an option, enter the action you want to perform, like anything, undo or something, like anything you want to perform, like Roshan, anything. To I want to perform no actions to undo, like okay, I have to choose at least two functions. I showed you in demo, like if I use Roshan again, if I enter one and I perform the action Roshan, and I choose again, and I here mention here Ram. Now I can choose anything from here. Again I'm performing the action and choose Ramesh. Now I will click here undo. So what it has been showed us to this restored into the RAM. So I performed here. First I taken the name, second I taken the name of the RAM. So it will show it was undo means it removed the first element Roshan, and it will printed me here RAM. So this is the function of the undo. Like this radar also will work. So this is the code for this undo and redo using the stack implementation. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to present this logic explanation and the code. And thank you so much. So this is the video. I hope you like the video of this the concept, because this is an important concept of the data structures and design and analysis of the algorithms also. So thank you so much.